Hey guys, it's John V here with PhoneArena, and this is my first look between the Apple iPhone X and the LG V30. So one of the biggest surprises this fall was the LG V30. It was an uncompromising handset, and best of all, it was pretty much praised by everyone. But now that the iPhone X is here, I'm kind of curious to know how much better a smartphone is going to be given it's $1,000. I'm going to start with their designs first. They both feature the same glass meets metal construction, which has been typical of late of many handsets. But for me, the iPhone X has just a little bit more substantial feel, and that's thanks to its stainless steel bands. On top of that, the iPhone X is slightly more manageable to hold because it's narrower and shorter than the V30. But regardless, I can definitely tell you that both phones look stunning at the end of the day. While the iPhone X has a little bit more substance behind its construction, there are a couple things that I love about the V30's design. For example, it has an IP68 rating versus the IP67 construction of the iPhone X. And on top of that, it comes with the ever so useful headphone jack and the fingerprint sensor. Next up, let's talk about their displays. So with the LG V30, it does offer a little bit more detail. It features a 6-inch 1440 by 2880 full vision plastic OLED display. In comparison, the iPhone X has a 5.8-inch 1125 by 2436 Super Retina display, which leverages OLED technology. On paper, there are more pixels packed into the LG V30's display, but honestly, in real life, you're barely going to notice the difference between the two. And since both leverage OLED technology, they both have those deep blacks, but I can tell you now that the viewing angles are better with the iPhone X. iOS versus Android. This is a battle we've seen countless times before, and for the most part, they're both usable. Now for most people, the experiences here will suffice. You'll be able to do all your work, send emails, you can browse the web. None of that's really a problem. Those are core experiences you expect to find in every smartphone. I will say though that the V30 does offer a little bit more customization and control for the user because you have things like those useful widgets, and you also have this floating bar which you could customize for quick access to certain stuff. Meanwhile, the big new feature with the iPhone X is the Animoji feature, which leverages the new TrueDepth camera system. So basically, you could produce an animated emoji. Every subtle movement of your face is tracked, so it's a cool thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if Android eventually adopts something similar down the road. Now for spec's sake, the V30 is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 chip with 4GB of RAM, and the iPhone X has Apple's new A11 Bionic chipset with 3GB of RAM. I gotta say though, the iPhone X is just incredibly fast. Don't get me wrong, the LG V30 is snappy, especially for an Android smartphone, but I already noticed the difference here between the two. The iPhone X is just insanely quick. Well, it's no shock that these two handsets have dual camera systems, but their purposes and intent are totally different from one another. For example, the dual 12-megapixel cameras in the iPhone X are meant to deliver those creamy looking portrait shots where you have those backgrounds being blown out. Whereas with the V30's combination, it's meant more to get a wider capture with its 16-megapixel main camera and a 13-megapixel wide-angle one. So with that in mind, if you love shooting video and you want more control, I definitely recommend the LG V30 because you have those true manual video controls and you also have those different color profiles to get more of that cinematic look and feel. But if you're into photos and simplicity more, it looks like the iPhone X is going to be the right fit for you. Now what makes the LG V30 so compelling is that unlike its contemporaries, it's not priced excessively to the point that it's unreachable for most people. At $830, the LG V30 seems like a bargain in comparison to the $1,000 cost of the iPhone X. For me, I really wonder how much more I'm going to get from the iPhone X, seeing that it is $130 more than the LG V30. Given how much I love the LG V30 already for its premium design, the video tools with the camera, expandable storage, and that headphone jack, it really makes me wonder how much more the iPhone X can really sell itself to consumers at $1,000. So if you guys want to learn more about either handset, you could check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V, signing off.